Hi, and welcome to the August Files. Excuse me, that's a bird flying into my window. All is well, it's flown off unharmed. Hi, it's Editing Donna here. First time recording Donna. Didn't get all of the information right, and so Editing Donna is going to try to be kind and just fill in a few gaps. First of all, if you've come here for card making videos, you might like to just skip this one and wait for the next video. I've just started this series where once a month I just do a life check-in. If that's your thing, feel free to watch it, but if not, just wait until the next video comes out. It'll only be a few days. If you're interested in seeing my cards in other places, you can find me on my blog and here on YouTube as Donna is Playing Paper, and also over on Instagram as DonnaDoll74. Editing Donna has realised that the month that just was in fact August, not July, and that's why I'm re-recording. August has been a really big month, and despite the complete existential crisis that I had about showing my face on video, I'm really glad that I did it, because the very fact of having made promises here kept me really accountable. I promised you all that I'd do some things, and it's amazing how much having made that promise really held me to them. So I've been very diligently cleaning my room, my craft room, as promised, and I've been getting back to reading my Japanese novel. Even when I stopped for a few days, I kept thinking, I've got to get back to that, I promised I'd do it. So it's been really, really useful. Some of the things that have happened this month, I've been making cards. This is the cards that I've made this month. Many of these are now videos, and so you might recognize some of them. This one is a one paper pack 10 cards video, and all sorts of things. There's a bunch here. I'll talk about a couple of those and show them to you on my desk. As well as that, on the card making side of things, I went away with some friends a couple of weeks ago, and we had a lovely weekend away. And part of what I did was to just stamp and colour things for fun. And so I have this image, thank you lovely Dottie, and some other stamps that I've bought and just not had time to use. Coloured a bunch of these with some extra flowers that I'm hoping to put on top, and I have finally managed to stamp and colour some of these images from my friend Miri, who so kindly sent them to me, and then every time I went to use them I would shift countries or something and be so busy. And so finally, these are going to make it into cards. They're all coloured and cut out, ready to go. I mentioned last time that I was going to learn how to spin. And I did that. I went, and I wouldn't exactly call myself a competent spinner yet, but I did spin something. I'm just grabbing it from the side here. And I'll show some close-up photos of this as well. This is my first attempt. It's actually only half mine, because I spun the grey, mostly grey, and then when I learnt to ply, I didn't have enough. I didn't have 2 bobbins worth spun, so this has been plied with some of my teacher's wool. So you can see that one of the 2 pieces of wool in each strand is beautiful and one is completely thick and thin. But that's okay. So that was my first little attempt. And that was spun. I was really surprised with just fleece with all the lanolin still on it. It was actually really nice to hold and spin. And then I got home and I had some, I don't even know what it's called, tops, or I don't know, some wool in a bag that was really long. So I started to spin that. And this was my first night's effort, and it's, well, interesting, kind of adorable in its own way. And then the next 2 nights I also spun. And definitely I'm getting better. It's still rubbish, but it's definitely better. So I'm excited to try to put these 2 together and see what kind of yarn I get. I'm really not sure what to do with this one. At the end of July, I listed a couple of goals to knit during the month, and one of them was to knit these socks. I can't exactly remember where I was at. But anyway, I did finish both socks. I said I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough wool. That's where I was, I remember now. And I didn't. In the end, both of them have little coloured toes because I didn't quite make it. And I've worn these once or twice. And then I realised that in pulling this back to change and pick up the coloured wool, I've actually dropped a stitch. And so that's on my little list of things to do for this month. So I'll pop that over there to talk about for August. I did finish my hat. It's beautiful and warm and it fits well and it's great. It's exactly doing the job. There's still a couple of mistakes in it, but you can't see them. It's a beautiful blue wool that's hiding all kinds of things. And so I've got my hat now for working outside, which is really lovely. And at my local op shop, I also found some wool and I've knitted a hat for my husband as well, a big thick beanie. So he's enjoying that as well. So I've had a nice time with the knitting as well. In the garden, everything's really starting to take off. And we have things coming into flower, weeds, plants, everything is going crazy. And so September is going to be my month for getting the vegetable patches all ready. We've made a good start on that. And I've planted some things and weeded some beds. And I've been working on the paths as well and digging out the weeds from between the garden beds. I did also do some weeding and I did another time lapse, as you can see. But it turns out that without Mr. Reliable there with me, the job gets abandoned halfway. So I've done a really good job of what I've done. And then, I don't know, got distracted by something shiny. And so I need to finish that garden bed off. Things in the garden have slowed a bit in the last fortnight, thanks to a permanent resident of our garden who is reached his cranky stage. And that is we have a magpie nest in the middle of our backyard. And so now we have to run the gauntlet of a very, very angry papa magpie every time we want to go out. And so I've been busy in the craft room making eyes for the tops of all our hats. And we tend to go out in the backyard together because the magpie's less likely to swoop that way. We've been reading and they say they swoop for about 6 weeks. So we're hoping we have about 3.5 weeks to go. As magpies go, it's not too bad. It swoops above our head. It's not a pecker, but it's still really disconcerting when you're trying to get something done. On the harvesting front, our asparagus has started to come in, starting with this one spear. And then today was the first day that I picked a full bunch of asparagus. Although, given that I had a camera in one hand and a magpie swooping my head, I didn't do a very tidy job of picking it. I should have put the camera down and got a knife and cut the spears off, but what I actually did was just grab them and get back inside the house. Last month, I showed you our beautiful little seedling bed. Well, most of those have survived and are definitely growing. I even got enough coriander for last night's dinner. Also, last month, I mentioned this beautiful old recipe book from my great-grandmother. And although I didn't cook anything this month, I found it and been to the shops and bought ginger, because it seems like I need that for almost every recipe in here. I suspect that Grandma Ethel loved ginger. Doesn't she have the most beautiful handwriting? Last month I mentioned that one of our main jobs was keeping warm. I also managed to make a couple of heat packs from an old skirt that I found at my local op shop. These ones are filled with jasmine rice, so they smell really nice when I heat them up. I was so surprised to find that people had done a whole bunch of research about what the best fillings were. So, what's coming up for September? I'd like to finish some jobs. I have a bunch of really small jobs that I've been putting off, like finishing off this cardigan that literally only needs buttons and a couple of ends sewn in. I've got a shower curtain that needs mending. These socks that have had a rather exciting life just need a quick mend, as do the other socks that I made last month where I dropped the stitches. Does anybody else spend more time putting off doing little jobs than it would have actually taken to do them? I have one bigger job which is to turn this bolt of fabric into some curtains ready for a visitor later in the month. Finally today, I'm going to leave you with some footage of the cards I've been making this month, and also a little bit of a tour around our garden. I have to apologise for the camera angle of the garden tour. The camera is most definitely diverted more up than it should be. Turns out that I had more than one eye out for that magpie as I took the footage. Last month I mentioned that I was going to make a 1 paper pack 10 cards video. I've done that, and the video is already up on my channel. These 4 cards, using 1 stencil 4 ways, are also up on the channel. My goals last month was to be regular posting videos, and I also posted a video of these 2 cards. I work on design teams for Paper Rose Studio, whose cards you just saw, and also Pink and Main. And these are the cards that I've put up for Pink and Main this month. And that flower card also has a video on my channel. Last month I showed you a bunch of chickens, and I've also managed to finish colouring those and get them onto cards. I've been playing a game on Saturday mornings called Craft Roulette. There's a YouTube video that you can watch each time, and different things get spun up on a wheel that you use to make cards, and I've really enjoyed that as a way to stretch my creativity. Here are the cards that I've made for some of the recent challenges. I used shaving cream to make this one, and this card here has a YouTube video as well. Lastly, I'm often working ahead of time, and so you can see a few sneak peeks of cards coming across the screen that you can expect to see in the near future. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of outside footage now of our beautiful part of the world, and I'll be back with some regular card making videos very soon. Next month, let's check in again and see how September went and set some more goals. It'll be interesting to see what the garden will look like in another month. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you're hoping to get done in September, and especially whether you've got some little jobs that you've been putting off doing that really could be knocked over quite easily. If you'd like to, you can like this video by pressing the thumbs up or subscribe. And if not, I'll see you when I see you.